Hi, everybody. Joe Chaffee here, Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, we're going to talk about the relatively calm weather that is covering most of the United States. If you want summertime, you head to the Southwest. If you want rain, just head down to the Gulf Coast. And if you want gorgeous early September weather, just stay in the Northeast, Great Lakes, and Mid-Atlantic states, and even the Ohio Valley. That's all tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So pretty quiet here across the United States, at least from the standpoint of adverse weather conditions, as far as, say, rain is concerned or tropical storms and hurricanes. Obviously, that's not going on. Other than some flood watches in central Texas, it remains relatively calm. We have excessive heat in the southwest, excessive heat warnings in western Arizona, as well as in Southern California, with heat advisories working their way up the west coast. That's where the ridge is. The upper high is in the west, while in the east, we've got troughing, and we had frost advisories this morning in northeastern New York, as well as parts of southwestern New York and north central Pennsylvania, and we'll probably have more frost advisories to deal with as we head to tonight into Wednesday morning. And as we check out the satellite loop, we've got mainly clear skies in the east. The dry air has pushed down into the mid-Atlantic states and pushing into the Tennessee Valley. It's going to get a little further south into the deep south, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and north Georgia, getting a little bit of dew point relief. Meanwhile, some overnight thunderstorms along the Texas Gulf Coast, as well as off each coast of Florida. And over the next couple of days, this is where much of the action is going to be taking place as far as showers and thunderstorms are concerned. It's going to be along the immediate Gulf Coast and just offshore. We also have a frontal boundary, the old front sitting off the coast and not really doing very much, with showers and thunderstorms well offshore. We're going to watch this later this week because some kind of low is probably going to come out of that. In the meantime, the radars are dry in the northeast and mid-Atlantic states and also through parts of the southeast and into the deep south. At least that's the case as of 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got showers and downpours back in much of central Texas, as well as the Texas Gulf Coast, and we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms going on in the Pacific Northwest. Just a couple of notes with regards to where we are going forward. First of all, tonight into Wednesday morning in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, it's going to be another cool night. We'll probably only be topping out in the middle 70s today, maybe even some spots only in the low 70s. But tonight, once again, will be a cool night with most lows in the 50s, and that includes the warmer urban centers as well. We're going to see temperatures actually cooler as you head, in some respects, as you head southwest into southeast and south central Pennsylvania, upper 40s to low 50s. That also is the case for southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey, as well as northeast Pennsylvania up the Hudson Valley and into Connecticut, where many areas will be down in the 40s. So this is this is sort of a repeat performance of what we saw just a couple of weeks ago when we had that beautiful stretch of dry weather that moved through the Northeast in mid-August. And also, just want to check on the tropics because September is the most active month. This first 10 days of September are usually quite active indeed, and it's exactly the opposite, particularly in the tropical Atlantic, where we do have a couple of weak disturbances that the Hurricane Center is indicating that there's a 40% chance of development of one that's just south of the Cabo Verde Islands and another one that's in the eastern part of the Caribbean Sea. And just going back to the satellite loop, it's not very impressive. The one in the Caribbean, the one out in the Atlantic is disorganized. There's one in between that is moving northwestward, and that at the moment probably looks the best of them all, and that's the one they're not really talking about. So I'm not expecting anything to come out of the tropics anytime soon. Well, if we look at just quickly at the GFS over the next 16 days, it really doesn't develop much of anything. And in the one in the Caribbean, it actually takes pretty far south and takes it out on the Pacific side eventually and turns it into a tropical storm there. So the tropics remain quiet, and you know what? That's a good thing. So as far as our weather is concerned, This high is the driver. It's going to keep things nice for much of the rest of the week. The only change will come probably on Thursday as the flow gets a little more onshore. So we're going to have to, not so much Thursday, but Friday, we're going to have to watch maybe for some clouds starting to roll in Thursday night and perhaps limiting the amount of sunshine, especially along the coast. Low pressure goes out to the east from there. Here comes a cold front. Gulf moisture comes up, and it looks like we'll have showery rains and thunderstorms to deal with Saturday into maybe the first part of Sunday. But if everything moves along, the second part of Sunday, weather conditions will improve. So we'll talk all about this and much more tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And that's at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So mark it down, and we'll see you.